Hey everybody, welcome to Piper's Academy. I am Army Piper, your host of the show here, and today we have a great segment coming up for you guys. We're going to be looking at the Bitcoin 2025 predictions. We've got a great panel on today. We're going to be looking at when is this all-time high going to occur, and what would that all-time high price be? So guys, without any further ado, class is in session. Welcome to Piper Academy. This is the show where we bring you everything you need to know to have knowledge, because knowledge is profit. Guys, we got a great panel lined up today. Let's go ahead and bring them all up here, because each of us are going to be looking at the all-time high timeline and the all-time high price of Bitcoin in 2025, or maybe sooner. We'll see what everyone has to say. Let's go ahead and bring them all up. We got a great panel here. Welcome to the Brady Bunch.
What's going on?
What's up, man? We got David over here on this side from Lunar Beaches Crypto. All links to the guests today are down below, so make sure you go and follow these guys on X and on YouTube. So, David, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm ready to blow some minds.
Okay? Mind blown.
What's going to happen?
Yeah,
Your
he's
mind
calling
is gonna
zero.
Be blown. No, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah,
We got Alexo.
It's going to be the end of Bitcoin forever.
Forever. It's going to zero. Alexo Crypto from Alexo Crypto.
What's
up,
going on,
Alex?
man? Outer gang, good to be here. Glad to have been invited to share with you guys some price predictions and some long-term analysis.
Awesome. Yeah, we appreciate it, man. Always glad to have you here on the show and putting in your input. It's always valuable. And then, of course, down here, finishing out the corners, we got TradeFly and the OC guy, my regular TA host right here on the show with me. TradeFly, what's up, brother?
What's going on? Excited to have all you guys on. Twin, what's up, bro? How you doing? And
How's it
yeah,
going,
man.
man?
I'm ready. I'm ready to show you guys the most simplistic approach you've ever seen. I'm gonna blow your mind.
Mind blown.
Can't wait.
OC guy, what's up, brother?
Oh, I'm so excited. And on the total opposite, I'm ready to show you guys the most complex thing that you will ever see.
It's
Engineer,
quantum
man.
physics, mathematics.
Yeah.
All right,
Just joking.
so the halving, that's what we're doing this prediction for. The halving event is coming up very, very soon, and just to show you guys how close this is to us right now, let's go ahead and take a look. This is the Bitcoin halving, and we are, as of the countdown right now on nicehash.com, 72 days away. So in 72 days, this halving event is going to occur. They're saying right now projected to be around 9 April. So that's why we're doing this video today, because we're really close to the parabolic run that occurs after this liquidity squeeze, the supply shortage and shock that happens from this event. So that's why I wanted to talk about that, because that is going to be the basis of why we're all doing the TA work that we're getting ready to do. So guys, what we have right here, I want to go ahead and bring this up. First off, if this is your first time to the show, go ahead, do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if you want to stick around to the end and see if you get anything of value out of this, then do that also. But at the end, before you leave, please hit that like button. We're going to be looking at the methodology on this, first of all. So you guys understand there's some rules here on the methodology. First of all, we're going to be looking at trends and patterns that have happened historically. That's kind of how technical analysis look at going forward in the future, whether it be on fractals, whether it be on, this is the previous high to previous low, that's Fibonacci's. There's all kinds of methods that we can use on this, but we're going to look at trends and patterns. And then secondly, we're going to be doing technical analysis. TA, this is what all of us on this show do, and we're going to be applying that technical analysis on top of that historicals. Then we're going to give a time-based all-time high. When in 2025, or if earlier, if that happens to be your stance, your thesis, when do you think that all-time high is going to occur? And then lastly, we're going to be taking a look at what price do you think it's going to be at when it hits that all-time high, or is it even an all-time high? We might have someone in this panel that doesn't even think we're going to hit $69,000 again. So we will see that and we will see what everyone has. So we're going to go ahead and get this started. Alex, you are the first in the shoot. You've got about 5 minutes. If you go over, it's okay. But
Perfect.
I want to hear what your stance is. Let's get it, bro.
Come
All
on
right,
down.
let's do it, man. Let's go over this. Otter gang. Okay, so first and foremost, we got to take a look at this. So for me, we're looking at Bitcoin on the weekly. Okay, so I've put this together for you guys, and I've shared this with my community a couple of times of the areas. So we got very simplistic here, but we got swing high to swing low Fibonacci, right, with a 368 extension. So this 3.618 extension is going to be my threshold for where I'm looking for a similar pattern to the upside where we get that run up in the next bull run. Okay, so we did have an outlier here when we consolidated sideways. So that was my first idea, is that we had the outlier here of, the C19 that happened here, but we got that run up inevitably, and we saw this massive shoot to the sky. Now, if we pull the same kind of idea here, right, and we pull the swing high to the swing low, now I am using this high here. So some people argue over whether it's the first high or the second high, but for me, I'm pulling the second high because I like higher prices. I don't know about you guys, but if you haven't smashed that like button, you guys like higher prices, smash that like button. But when looking at this, we pull swing high to swing low, and I'm looking for the extension to come up to $212,000. Okay, so 200 is my 200,000. 212,000 is my target. My conservative target would be the 1.618. So that's at 105,000. Okay. Now, I do believe when we do pump up, because right now we are in more of an accumulation zone, just like we were at. So I do believe we can chop sideways here. And I do have some time things for you guys. So now that you know that I'm looking for this conservative 100,000, so I'll mark it out here, and then this 212,000 over here. I'll get rid of this area thing, right? So I am expecting this consolidation here and then eventually bull run, okay? And for timing, all right, we look at 2024 and we scroll out here and we can see that we just got our ETF, so that's very important. But I believe rate cuts are coming in the spring. And then we are looking for the halving. Then we are looking for an ETH ETF, which I believe will help pump the markets. The US election, because they're going to spend. And the typical cycle top is going to come in between December and April. Okay, so there's a very big window here, but I can't give you the exact timing, but I am expecting this consolidation here all the way through, right? And then I'm expecting a beautiful push up somewhere around here to these all-time highs around $212,000. And that's kind of my outline of how I'm looking to trade this and DCA and plan to get out before everybody drops their bags on us, right? So that's the key is it's okay to accumulate down here, but we got to be able to sell up here. And that's my thesis right now as it stands, Piper. So thanks for having me, man.
Awesome. So let me just get this clear. You said 212,000 for the high. And when is the
Yes.
date?
The latest it will be is the 27th of April, because that's my mom's birthday, so that's important to me. And the earliest it can be is late December 2024.
Okay. Perfect. David, are you ready to give your thesis?
Brother.
Yes, prepare. Okay.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, here it is. This it is. We're going to Doomtown, baby. That's all I gotta say. We've done hit that 618 on the retracement, and we're just gonna come down to 10K. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this is nonsense, guys. We're taking this away. We're getting rid of this, and we're going to look at how I really think this is going to play out. I had everybody thinking I was going to be bearish. You think I'm going to be bearish? I'm Lunar Beach's crypto. This is how we do, okay? First, let's go ahead and take a look at our cycles. So we have our cycles. This is how long they have lasted each time. I took the difference between this one, and it's about 3.719%. I subtracted that from this one. So I put my time for about August of next year, August, September. Let's see, what else do we have here? Bull bear markets. So this is what our bull and bear markets have historically looked like on our pullbacks. our launches, pullbacks, our launches. We see our bear markets last typically about a year, and our bull markets last about 4-ish years. Not really. I didn't used to believe in the 4-year cycles, but I believe in something that is called a secular bull market, which I believe we are within. And the 4-year cycles actually fit nice within that secular bull market that I believe ends around 2029. Why do I believe it ends around there? Well, let's go ahead and get rid of this real quick, and let's go ahead and add some Elliott wave theory in here. Of course, it only adds that one. This is what I need. So this is we got a logarithmic curve, and this is kind of what I'm projecting out for Bitcoin on this. We are in the third the third wave of a 5-wave super cycle. I do not believe this was the end of this particular cycle right here. Okay, guys, so we come up, we create wave 1, wave 2. This is a 5-wave within the third wave. This is Elliott wave theory. So we can break. Once we broke that, we created that new cycle. And then I believe this thing is just going to keep on ramping up until we get up to here. Let's go ahead and add in. So these are past cycles. So the purple is our last cycle. The orange is the 2016-2017 cycle. They all kind of line up right there, right about that mark right there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on that. Let me add this right here. So these are our tops and our bottoms. That just kind of helps us see that real quick. Is there something else? Oh yeah. So I went crazy with the fibs. Okay. And I went and I added all kinds of different fibs. So what I did was just took a number and multiplied it by 1.618. And then it went all the way up, and just so happens to be that we nailed it right here. We nailed a fib right here. So there's more confluence for you guys. Here's another trend-based fib that I added fibs to. There's more confluence right there. So my price on that is going to be about $202,000. So that's what I'm looking at in August of September or September of next year. So let's go ahead and get rid of some of this so we can kind of see what we're looking at real quick. And then, yeah, there we go. So there's that trend-based fib. So all I did on this one, guys, was for, you have your 1.2, 2.236, 3.236, and, so on and so on. So I just added a whole bunch in there all the way up to 10.113. And that is where I believe the mega cycle ends at $336,000 come October of 2028, something like that. That's projecting way out into the future, but this is kind of what I'm looking at. And now, as far as why I'm kind of looking at that for this, I think we're going to go higher for longer. And what that means is, guys, I think we're going to see this red line right here is our inflation rate. So I believe this is going to start ticking up, and the Fed is going to either have to hold the interest rates where they are, or they're going to have to pump them up. Now, in history, anytime they start pumping it up, price pumps up with it. As inflation comes up, of course, inflation correlates with inflation in prices, so you're going to get that as well. I could go into all of this. I am going to go deeper into all of this in a video that I'm going to release later after this, but that's what I'm looking at, guys. I'm looking at August, September, sometime next year, 2025, for our top at $202,000.
Yeah,
Let's
that's excellent,
go.
David. That's right in line with Alex's so far. He's not too far off on that one. So there
No,
you
when
go.
he said
There's
212,
two.
I was like, oh.
Oh. There you go. Hey, brilliant TA there. That was a great breakdown. So appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let's go. Tradefly, you are in the shoot, man. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, let's do
Let's
it.
get it. Let's get it. Let's go. Let's go. Guys, if you
All
guys
right.
are enjoying this content, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, and also check the links down below. Follow David, Lunar Beaches Crypto, and Alexo Crypto. If you do not do so, you are missing out on some great content. Let's get it.
All right, let's get this party started. I told you, mine's going to be a lot more simplistic. And you guys have heard me talk about it on the show already. I'm just going to these two all-time highs I'm literally looking at that trend line at the top, and I'm saying, okay, that's my next point that I could see a rejection, right? So let's go ahead and look at some of the other patterns. Or really, I'm looking at the fib extension. So I'm going from bottom, I'm going to the same top that Alex was looking at, which is the all-time high, and then I'm bringing it back to our low, all right? Now we've started to change trend, right? Because we had a trend that was going down. Now we have a series of higher lows, which lets me know, and this is the weekly, that we now have a trend going up and right. So looking at that, you can actually see that technically right now we are in this channel that kind of goes up and right now. We need to break out of that because as of right now, we haven't been able to break out of it. And it is respecting this channel. You can see both support and resistance here. And then actually the median, it's actually using that as support and resistance at times. So that gives me kind of further confirmation that we are on this channel. So a couple of things that we can look at as well. You know, we do love chart prime around here, and we see that the dynamic, or sorry, not the dynamic oscillator, but dynamic reactor is actually flip green, and that's actually moving up and right. So that's a positive sign. But, you know, this is what I'm looking at. We still have to break some very significant levels on this Fibonacci extension. All right. We still got to get through the 0.5. We haven't been able to do that. You can see a clear rejection. That's about where our high was locally or recently. All right. And then we still have to get through the 0.618. So if we're talking about the end of 2024 going into 2025, I honestly, I don't see us getting much higher than about 80K based
Huh?
on this Fibonacci extension. And that's just personal opinion. Now, if we do break through that, the top, I could see it going as high as maybe 95,000 because at some point we have to get a rejection. It's not going to just moonshot. It's not going to the sky, not in my mind. We have to see some kind of pullback. Now, looking at some of these bull markets here, you can see look at the upward velocity of this first run and then look at the upward velocity of the second run. Now, it looks like there was a rejection here. It came down, but it wasn't too crazy and then boom, it goes back up. We're actually right now, we're doing something a little bit different. It's not quite that vertical trajectory. It's actually a very clean, nice climb up and right. This is actually probably one of the most healthy climbs or, you know, ascensions in price for Bitcoin that we've ever seen. You know, we're not really talking about it. We don't really realize it, but like, it's not one of those like everybody's holding on because we think it's just going to like pull back really hard. It's a nice, clean up and right movement. So the trajectory that we're on right now, if we stay in this channel, is really, I mean, by the end of 2024, 56,000, but we do have the halving coming up, and that's the basis of why we're talking about this. So statistically speaking, you're probably going to see 100 to 200% movement. Now, if we go up 100% from here, that kind of falls right in line because a lot of people talk about, all right, the every halving, it kind of gets cut in half, like, and they take that statistical probability and they kind of take it in half, right, or cut it in half. And so for me, it's another 100% movement. Well, that lines up again with that Fibonacci extension of about 80K. So for me, that's what I'm looking at. I think 80K, we get up there, but we're probably going to see a rejection, right? Because once you get past this all-time high, which we all know, there's going to be people that have, you know, they're going to be exiting at that point. So you're going to see a pullback. So let me draw that. You'll probably see a pullback from the all-time high. We'll come up, all-time high, and then we'll pull back. And then I think we'll go up, right? And that's going to be, you're going to see some euphoria from about 69K up to about 80. But I don't see us going much further than that in the next year and a half.
All right, perfect. Love it, man. So again, just to recap, your all-time high date is when and how much?
My all-time high, the next one, I got 80K, and I'm just saying by the end of 2024.
Okay. So you think we're going to pull back from there and go back down at 80,000 is the high. You think it's in 2024, not 2025.
Well, I'm doing it by 2025, yeah. So, I mean, in 2025 itself, yeah, I'm not pulling off of it. I'm holding.
He's
Man. I
holding.
think it's gonna
He's
pull back.
holding.
So
Hey,
I guess what
your
I think
thesis
is
is your
gonna happen
thesis.
is it's gonna get up there, and then we're gonna see a pullback. I think by 2025, we may actually be seeing a pullback, not actually that upward trajectory. So here's the perma bear scenario. I'm pulling the
There you
David
go.
on you.
We
yeah.
got the perma bear. Trade fly is officially the bear of this
You're
panel. So
100% gains. I'm a bear. There you go, man.
all right, one more OC guy. We're gonna get to you now. Are you ready?
Absolutely. Let's
Because I
check it.
heard you put some genius math in there. If anyone don't know, OC guy is actually really, really advanced in mathematics for his engineering line of a field of work that he does. So I'm
Yeah.
interesting to see
He-
what you have. So let's go.
He's what we call a nerd.
I kind of like, I mean, I do really like mathematics, especially physics. All right, let's not bore you guys. The first thing I'm going to get started, I'm going to be a little bit more specific so we can follow up. It is while painting, and I'm referring back to the golden ratio. If you start studying how that develops, you'll see that in many paintings, you start scaling that painting to where you want to be. All right, the painting is already there, so I'm not trying to force a golden ratio. But other than that, just follow up a pattern. The patterns that I know for sure 100% they happened, it is the halving event, right? So what I'm going to be doing, it's when the halving started, when the halving ended, and that's going to give me a base growth reference, right? So that's why you can see those lines are being painted here, basically when it happened, at what price it happened, right? The next thing that I'm going to be doing, it's measuring the tangent line between those 2 points, right? I'm measuring that tangent line. And as you can see, we can absolutely see that roll of the golden ratio spiral, right? We can kind of like see it like taking form in here, so circular form, right? Well, then what's going to happen when I don't have the endpoints in here? Well, based on now a little bit of how to calculate triangles, because you guys know that I love triangles, I'm going to be looking for the median. So basically point MC right here, right? So let me just show you what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to use symmetrical parities between triangles to understand where can I project back into the next cycle. By the way, I'm not dividing the triangle into a 90-degree angle here. Instead, I'm looking the median to start drawing my head and shoulder lines. So just so you know, that is also where did I get my head and shoulders lines. Also, another pattern start emerging. That pattern is going to be very important, and it's going to be in here. So I'm going to Control C it, and then I'm going to right click it, and also let's clone it. All right. Based on this clone, look at that from the start of the bull market, or not the bull market, but the already 100% known points, which are where did I started the halving event till the all-time high. Look at that. They're very precise, and then repeat each other over and over, right? So look at that. So that is a constant. Another constant that I actually, it's not that I discovered, but I kind of like I realized or made me open my eyes to, it is the time expansion. So it is not, and I was expecting a time kind of like a stretching out, right? But instead, I kind of found that it's almost basically the same timing over and over. Look at that. Almost 3 or 4 weeks difference for a, I mean, 1, 2, 3 cycle calculation. And we're talking about fourth, right? Or even fourth in here. So that is a very well established couple of more weeks, more, couple of weeks less. So the halving event, I think it'll kind of get started or looking through at the same timing zone. So let me now start adding those lines that I have prepared for you guys. And let's get started with my head and shoulders lines, because this is going to be the most radical way or the most radical output that I have had. All right. And I want to get started with that. Look at that. The first thing I'm going to be doing once I already have this, this line, also I'm going to start looking from the previous stops that we have this point here. Also going for the 2 highs, and then finding a very strong base for where I can have what I call the neckline of my head and shoulder lines, right? And look at that. If I follow that line, it usually appears very, very nicely, very close to the previous stop. Yes, it was a little bit off. Nonetheless, it kind of like predicted it, right? If I do the same thing here, look at that, going for that beautiful retest, and then predicted almost exactly the top right there. Look at that. So projected target hit, projected target hit. Now, if I do exact same thing, because I already know what is the top, when where is basically the end or the starting of this area, then I can start predicting where I could be having the linear top. All right. So there's one more thing to be added in this equation, and I'm not going to be talking about numeric numbers because that kind of like adds to the complexity of here, right? So where we stop or where we end up on getting that halving event, where I do believe that it's going to be somewhere around here, where we get to, that's going to define whether this line is going to be going through it and basically hitting that target, or it's going to be either slightly higher or slightly lower. So far, I am expecting a pullback right before the halving event because that is something that we've seen over and over, like a pullback right before the halving event and over as we go back in history. So far, this is what I got, but let me just wrap it up with a little bit less information. So now how can I predict the timing and basically how can I ride along this area, which by the way, it's going to be somewhere around here. And you can now start seeing that it's also pairing with a 300 area thing. All right. Let me get my ranges here, my time dilatation analysis. So for that, remember when I start telling you guys that I will be doing some analysis on this triangle so I can predict where the next one will be. I did, and I also pair them to make them a little bit more visual with the Fibonacci time-based extension. If I start looking this first area here, and let me make this a little smaller, let's see that I start looking at where I started, the top point, the end point, and then also look at how close it gets to this green line, right? Then also look at how close it gets to this very first blue line, all right? Then, as you can see, it start getting to Fib extension targets the next upcoming movements. Let me add this parity once again. If I turn on the next Fib pattern, the next one should be this next one, and it's getting basically overlaid, right? So that's why I'm kind of like I'm moving it back and forth. So remember, the previous target was on the blue line, and then I have predicted the next target, or it got predicted with the end line in here, all right? So let's figure out, based on this other one, what is happening. So look at where the target, it's kind of like a hitting to, but, and this is important, going back into the previous guest that we had on the Piper Academy channel, I remember that he was talking about the second target by timing being the actual kind of like end of the target. So this is important. Not this, although it was slightly higher, this is going to be the time-based target. And I can say that very sure because, again, if I time it this way, you'll see it repeats over and over and over. And this is the target based on the end of the other one. So based on that, I can actually measure the previous one and grab it and have a time-based end of or beginning of that target. So that is placing me or getting me right here, 496,000 zone. And if I now start adding my last time frame zone, we'll see they're pairing almost exactly at this area. Remember the very first blue one. Let me now just wrap this one up, do a finalized analysis and bring up my bars. So right here, I have my first calculation and I have my second calculation based on two things. These two things, it is the ETF getting approved, all right? So far, I am between a 400-ish area here, all right? 490, 470 area here, somewhere around March 16th, and something earlier at 1,400,000. And why is that? Because if we look at how gold reacted to the ETF, we could also start seeing in pushing up into this other line that I have in here, which is a big trend line getting support all across the history of Bitcoin. So that is my next one, based on the behavior of gold when the ETF got approved. And I can say that not for sure, but geometry is pointing to that area. So, all right, wrapping up, this is my prediction. Either we had 1,200,200 at January 2025, or we had somewhere around 450-ish at somewhere around November of 2026. All right, so 1 year dilatation or time spent. So after all that, let me just bring up the last analysis that I've made, and it also has to do with geometry. And I'm going to be measuring the circumference of the points of the triangle, because that gives me a very neat area to calculate time prediction and also growth dilatation. So if I start measuring these triangles that I have previously done, and then I pair them, I can calculate the next one, which is the smaller one. And when I place it based on where we started and where we entered, we can start seeing also the target being very close to that million target area. So if we get the ETF playing out in this cycle, it's going to be nuts. And if not, I'm also going to be very happy getting the 400 or $500,000 area. So that is my thesis on where and when.
So if you had to lean to one price, one timeline, which side do you lean towards the most?
I will be leaning to the $500,000 Bitcoin at October or September 2026.
Okay, so there's your high end. OC guy, the Super Bowl. Yeah, you hand those glasses over, David.
You need some laser eyeglasses, bro. Like,
yeah. So let me get this straight. As of right now, OC guy, you are most leaning towards a $500,000, so a $500,000 Bitcoin on an extended cycle of November 2026.
Yes.
Okay, well, there you go, guys. You heard it right there from OC guy. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the last of the 5 predictions here, and we will bring it out and talk it out. So, guys, taking a look here on this chart you've never seen. This is my long-term Fibonacci channel, and this goes all the way back to the history of start off in Bitstamp back in 2011. And what we're looking at, these yellow lines running up and down here, vertical lines, these are the halving events. Our next predicted, as we saw at the beginning, is around 22 April-ish, somewhere in that ballpark. And that is when I'm looking at us getting the parabolic run like we always do. You can see after each halving, big parabolic run, big parabolic run. Let's go over here and take a look at where my prediction leads us to. So taking a look at this, I believe that we are going to trade somewhere between this platinum pocket and this golden pocket on this next cycle run. And so if we take this out and look at the timeline, it's about 3 years and 11 months on each cycle. So I do believe, based on the current trend cycle, almost like that channel that we saw on TradeFly's TA, I believe that we're going to follow up that channel right through here. And then we're going to be getting us into that timeline of the top. And if I go ahead and come over here, we're going to look at the all-time high date, which is going to be, in my prediction, somewhere around 6 October, based on the timeline to hit all-time high on previous cycles. We can see here that we hit it back in November. About 3 years, 11 months from that would be in October. So we're looking at that October the 6th, that week of somewhere in that ballpark. And based on it staying in that channel between the golden pocket and the platinum pocket, I am looking at a high of about 233,000. We'll just call it 235. That would be keeping it right here in the golden pocket somewhere for the rejection of the high. So my prediction time is going to be October of 2025. My high coming in at about 235,000. So that's what I got there. Pretty quick and simple for you, breaking it down based on this long-term fib channel that has just played out since the history of Bitcoin has been on Bitstamp. So we've got 235 here in October. We've got 212,000 from Alexo. And we got 202,000, I believe, from David. And then Tradefly said 80,000. He's our perma bear of the show, Tradefly. And OC
Enjoy
guy.
your 100% gains.
Well, if I had to pick one of these, I'm going to have to go with OC because I really want a $500,000 Bitcoin.
Bro,
So
I
let's
would
get
regret
that. If we what?
Oh, dude, I would regret it so much because, like, at one point I had 3.5 Bitcoin. Like, if we went up to 500,000 Bitcoin in the next couple of years, I'd cry.
At the end
That's
of
the
the day, I
biggest
think the
thing.
most important thing for people who are watching is to understand that they don't want to be people's exit liquidity. They want to be able to have a plan when going into selling, right? Like for me, I plan on selling like I would like a DCA, right? Where I'm getting rid of a bit along the way. So I make sure that, I'm not sitting there with my pants down holding the bags, right? So I think develop a plan of where you look to exit. I mean, 80,000, even some at the top, if we get to 69, there's definitely going to be some people selling there who bought way too high, right? So it's having a plan and executing the plan. I think that's the most important thing for people who are new to the space or who are still here who want to make some money from this, right?
Interestingly enough, if you had dollar cost averaged $100 a week from the $69,000 peak of the last cycle and had been doing $100 a week all the way through, you would be substantially up in profit right now, believe it or not.
Profit,
So,
I think it's like you're up 33% or something on your total investment. It's pretty wild.
yeah,
So
it is. So you could have bought the top. And if you stuck to the DCA strategy, still been doing really good right now. Better than the stock market annual returns. So, well, guys, I appreciate you guys being on here. You guys are awesome. And I always look forward to doing any content with you guys. Everyone, please check down below. Look at the links. If you do not follow Lunar Beaches Crypto and Alexo Crypto, please do so. They are amazing technical analysts and brilliant people, along with my fellow TA guys here, Tradefly and OC guy. We always love getting with you guys and doing TA. So I appreciate you.
thank you so much for having us.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So, guys, it seems like right now, so far, I am the highest bidder there. I mean, anyone that is serious in Bitcoin, and you may know already that my savings for retirement are in Bitcoin, right? So that doesn't mean that I'm going to go all in all the way to $500,000 Bitcoin. I mean, I will be looking at the charts, looking for retraction, looking for new patterns, looking for those head and shoulders lines that I've been talking about. And as I start seeing retracements, I will be cashing out some of that investments that I have on Bitcoin and basically DCAing out. And then when we get to the bear market, DCAing in again. So, I mean, guys, just be careful out there. Do not kind of like go all in 100x or nothing like that. Just stay safe.
David, do you have something?
Remember, only invest what you can afford to lose. If it's between the market and your rent, always pay your rent.
Always pay your rent. Guys, no one's ever gone broke taking profit. I just want to point that
Selling
out.
the house, bro.
Sell a house. No, not financial advice. Guys, thanks for joining us here today. I appreciate all of you guys. I'd love to have you guys back on the show. And